Hi, good morning, folks. Today is May 30th, 2025. This is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. My name is John Decker. I am the Director of Community Services here. I'm in my office. I am joined by Scott Barr. Well, let's see. There he is. He's waving at you now. And we'll do some introductions of staff here and we'll get into our agenda. But thank you for joining us today. We've got 70 folks on so far. So for the staff on, good morning. I see Boyd is on, and Odelia, and Christine, and Janice, and Michael, and Tom, and Alejandra from Community Services. We have our manager, Helen, on, and our indispensable lead, Jason, is on as well. Got Brandy on and Shauna, good morning as well. And Sammy Lynn is on, good morning. And Jaslyn and Marty are on too, good morning. And I see Yvette. You're going to hear from Client Services Manager BJ a little bit later as well, who's joined us. My long lost assistant, Zach, is on, who I've missed and haven't seen in a few weeks. His absence has been noted in the office. And we have our emergency coordinator, Hubert, on, who I think we are going to task to give us some last minute hot weather tips if he's got any handy. Look at the worry on his face. I love it. All right. We also have Mason on, our manager, Michelle, currently working with 3 different computer screens and 15 spreadsheets to share information with you folks. And we've got Christy on, and Rhonda, and Kylie, and Virginia, and Beverly, and Jolana, and Dan on as well, and Chris, and our manager, Jordan, from our Specialized Services and Supports Unit. For our agenda today, we are going to jump into our Deaf Culture 101 and Sign of the Week with Michael. We have a spotlight with Mark from UCP, who is on there. It says Eric, but we trust it. We know it's Mark. And then we are going to give some updates as it relates to rate reform. We had the Keep the Promise rally where I got to spend time with a number of you. We'll talk about that a little bit. We have information about obviously the service acknowledgement forms, the quality incentive program, and a little update about HCBS as well. I think right after we do the spotlight with Mark, we're going to throw it to BJ Thompson to give a little bit of an update on our residential resources. But first, I'm going to spotlight Michael for everyone. Michael Mercado, please.
Hello. Hello, and good morning. For this week's sign of the week, we have, as it relates to Memorial Day, which we recently had Memorial Day weekend. So Memorial Day is our first sign, honor is our second sign, and soldier is our third one. Are we ready? For the first one, you're going to use your dominant hand for the 2-hand shape. And you're going to put it towards your eyes facing backwards as if you were looking back. Memorial Day. So you're seeing behind yourself. And then day, you use that 1-hand shape and bring it down onto your non-dominant arm. So we'll do that one together again. Memorial Day. Great. And the next one, you have honor. You use your H hand shapes, those 2 index fingers. You start with your dominant hand. That's going to come up and touch your forehead. And then it's going to be led by your non-dominant hand as you're honoring in the direction of what you are honoring. And the next one, we have soldier. Start with your dominant hand. Take that 5-hand shape, bring it down into a fist. You're going to keep that thumb on the side and you're going to bring your non-dominant hand in the same hand shape underneath. And then you're going to be tapping it twice on your chest. Excellent job, everyone. I will go ahead and send the link for more practice on that one. You can use those words often in the future. Okay, for Deaf Culture 101, the Deaf Olympics. That might be new to you. What on earth is the Deaf Olympics? So let me back up here. In general, we have the Olympics, which is a large competition for people or athletes all over the world. However, this event depends on sound, whistle blowing, gunshots, beeping. All these different sounds are specific to the Olympics. Then, of course, you have the Paralympics, which is for disabled athletes with physical disabilities in order to use special equipment that will allow them to participate fairly. But that still does to sound on sound or depend on sounds such as whistles and beeping. So for the Deaf Olympics, it's actually very similar to the General Olympics. However, it is specifically for deaf and hard of hearing athletes only, and there is no dependence on sound for this. It is not, and it also, the Deaf Olympics is separate from the Paralympics. It is not involved with the Paralympics in any way. This is not necessarily for what we would consider disabled or physically disabled athletes. This is something that is for deaf athletes who aren't going to be depending on sound in order to compete. Yeah, so instead of using sound, they end up using flashing lights, flags, hand signals, or taps during the events. And okay, in just one second while I pull up the PowerPoint here, because I'm going to show you a few examples of what that equipment could look like. I'm sorry, just trying to get it all squared away here. Here we go. All right, can you see my screen? Okay, so specifically for the Deaf Olympics, this is actually the logo for it. You're seeing that these hand shapes represent how Olympics is signed in ASL. The Olympics is signed like this, like a chain link. So instead of using the traditional Olympics logo, it's adjusted to represent the hand signs used for the Olympics. So for athletes running track, they use the red, yellow, and green light on the floor to show when the athletes can go ahead and begin the race instead of using a gunshot, of course. And now, during sports such as soccer or football, typically the ref will use a whistle. However, we can't hear that. So that is replaced with a flag that is waved, which will stop the game and let athletes know what the call was for. For swimmers, doing the race in swimming, typically what you'll see here is a green light. That will indicate that it's time for the swimmers to go ahead and take the dive and start the race rather than hearing the whistle or gunshot. In wrestling or any other martial art, a whistle is not used, and instead the ref will do a tap on the athletes in order to halt the competition. So now you have it. That was the Deaf Olympics, which is crucial to deaf athletes in order to have complete and full access to these events that don't depend on sound. And this also allows deaf athletes internationally to celebrate their skill and, of course, come together with a common culture. The Deaf Olympics will be happening in Japan, November 2025. If you would like some information about the Deaf Olympics this year, I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat for you. And that's all we have today for you for Deaf Culture 101.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. All right. Next up, I am actually going to share my screen here, see how effectively I can do this. There we go. Are you guys seeing some pictures from, it looks like in front of the Capitol? Yeah. Um, I just want to take an opportunity to first, we had a number of ACRC service providers, certainly hundreds of ACRC regional center clients and family members that were out there. But I just, I think some of the organizers may have be on the call here in our meeting today, and so I just want to take an opportunity to thank those that went out to support keeping the promise. There's certainly a significant concern related to the ongoing ability to preserve our services and supports that are so vital to our service system. And I really appreciated all of the speakers. I know Alta helped out, I think, with some of the interpreters that we had out there. And again, just really appreciated it. Had some of our service coordinators out there making signs. I think this is a big group of folks from California Mentor. Yeah, this is a big chunk of folks from California Mentor. Some of you guys know Andy and Dana Folletti from Supported Life, and so happy to run into them while I was out there, and folks here making signs, and you can see Shamir and some of the regional center staff that were out there doing that as well. So just wanted to acknowledge it was fantastic seeing so many clients that I run into, and also just being able to have that with our staff as well. So anyways, wanted to note that and thank you all. It was pretty warm out there for those of us that were out in the sun, but we really appreciated that. We do have the release of the budget coming up here. We had the May revision. We did a big discussion of that. Was that 2 weeks ago? I guess 2 weeks ago, we did a big discussion about the May revision of the California budget. We'll be waiting for the next version that does end up coming out after that. There's still a lot to digest. The May revision of the budget that came out does not include calculations for the passage of the budget bill that's currently at a federal level right now with the Senate. It also doesn't take into complete what the revenues are going to look like for the state of California as well. Revenue challenges can certainly impact it, and our system is very rich. I believe the estimate is approaching serving approximately 500,000 individuals in the state of California through the Department of Developmental Services this upcoming year. So, as I say, we'll continue to keep you updated in this meeting as more information comes out about the budget and kind of the status. But just appreciate the opportunities that folks have. There's actually a webinar going on right now that State Council on Developmental Disabilities is doing that I know was promoted by our executive director too. So with that, let's see. Mark, can I throw it over to you? And if you want to share your screen, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you're welcome to take it away.
Oh, yes. Can everybody hear me? So I'm very blessed to be here today, and thank you, John. And I want to thank Eric and UCP. For the last 2.5 years, I've been an advocate for UCP, helping create new events, programs, advocate for the adult programs, and it's been a very great thing for me. And I'm also grateful for Khan, one of my colleagues that's sitting right here, helping me organize the show here. So I have a few comments. I started a group quite a while ago to help my son, my little boy named Johnny. And in 2000, he was struck with meningitis when he was like 1 year old. And he was healthy until then. And I started advocating for playgrounds back in early 2000s. And I was fortunate. I was able to retire to be his caregiver. He needed 100% care. And bless my wife, she returned to work, and we had another kid in 2004. But I took Johnny out in the community a lot. We ended up visiting playgrounds, and we did a lot of great things outside. He was included in schools. He was the first kid to go through his school from kindergarten to 6th grade and inclusion program. And I ended up helping add new features in a few of our playgrounds in the north area, Natomas area. And it's just a great thing to connect with leaders, the city, and just be an advocate. And I just had passion, so I would talk to city people. A friend of mine was a city council member, Ray Trethewey and Heather Fargo were friends, and I had kind of a inside connection to start what I'm about to tell you. So, I'll go to the next screen. No, wait for this one. So Johnny helped dedicate a playground called Southside Park in 2005. And it was the largest accessible playground at the time in Northern California. It's located on T Street, right near X, downtown Sacramento. And from then on, we had a connection where after he dedicated it, our family helped support play dates. I helped the city with vendors and had groups come on a monthly basis, like from the spring through fall. And I would try to bring families to connect to this great playground. It had 2 structures. It had wheelchair ramps. It had a walkway through a sand area. There was tactile spinning features, and just a great all-around playground. So we'll go to the next screen. So basically, I'm going to show you a video right now. We had a video created. Go to the video, that one. So here's a short video that explains what inspired all this.
Everyone is welcome at Ono Hawaiian Barbecue. Disney's Lilo and Stitch in theaters May 23rd.
Hold on.
Hold on. Woohoo! We're on the We-Go-Round!
Today is the official ribbon cutting and opening of the We-Go-Round. And that is an accessible merry-go-round for kids, whether they're in a wheelchair or scooter or walker or able-bodied to use, and it spins around just like a regular merry-go-round. And about 20 years ago is when we built this playground initially for the disabled children of Sacramento, and it was the largest accessible playground in Northern California at that time. I think it still is. But it's been 20 years and equipment starts wearing out, and Mark stopped by my house a couple of years ago, and in honor of his son who had passed away, Johnny, he wanted to do something here to improve Southside Park, which had been one of Johnny's favorites. So I said, great idea, let's figure out who you need to talk to. I got him connected to the city and helped him do a little fundraising, and here we are. In fact, I have a picture of Mark Laver, the organizer here, along with his son Johnny and myself at that initial ribbon cutting.
So we had a little boy named Johnny, and he was in a wheelchair, a special little kid, and he came to the playground a lot in the last couple decades. But our little boy passed away, unfortunately, in 2019, and it took about 2 years of planning. The city and our group, Johnny and Friends, Reach for the Stars, did a collaboration and opened up a fully accessible merry-go-round that's for all kids of all abilities, and it's been an incredible day. Johnny, I know, is looking down right now. I'm sure he's happy.
So after he passed away in 2019, we did start the effort to add the merry-go-round, and by the fall of 2021, it was installed. And it's the first one in Sacramento, and I think there's been a few more. There's one in Vacaville that was installed. I think Roseville's adding one, and I think the new Empowerment Park off of Bell Street will be added to soon, I think. So I just to tell you, it's been an unreal journey. Such support from the community, donors, companies, family members. We just did a great effort, and now things are just starting to even get better. In the last 2 months, we've added 2 new features. We added a serenity spot for autistic kids. It's like a quiet little zone right near the playground for kids to unwind in. We're adding a new symbol panel, communication panel. You can see it on the lower right there. And then our future phase is Braille, tactile Braille images. And these are images that we're going to use from the James Webb Telescope. And I'm working with 2 institutions from NASA. One is at Harvard, Chandra, and then the Johns Hopkins School. There's an astronomy program that's helping us. So it's pretty unreal. We have a lot of community support. We're having a high school project. St. Francis High School is working with some special kiddos to do a sign art project. And these images are going to be scanned and made into like permanent signs. And then we have a sensory garden we're looking at. So things are just developing. It's an ongoing process, and I'm grateful for the support we've had. We've raised almost $90,000 in the last 5 years, and I'm trying to get more funding. Okay, next slide. So there's a website here that you can look at, johnnysdreamplayground.com, and that talks about how one could get involved. You could donate your time at the playground. We have monthly cleanups. I have a company coming next Friday. They're going to make a donation, and like 10 employees will be there to help. And that's happened numerous times. You can donate to a project. If you look at our website and see an item that you might like, and there's a website link. We've had a great partnership with Gifts to Share through the Recreation Department. And also we've done Big Day of Giving the last 2 years. That's another nonprofit where you can still make contributions to that. And I have my email, UCP email, and Johnny's Dream Playground. But very grateful for John to allow me to be here today and explain this effort. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Mark. I think it speaks to the importance of involving influential community members and things like this. And I know that that's something that you certainly have really done a very good job with that. And again, recognition is important. Being able to go to a place and have an accessible playground, like these are the things that really make communities for people with developmental disabilities. So thank you for that.
And I'll end on one more note. There's been about 6 to 10 other parks that we've had an impact on. I've been able to meet city leaders, park district directors, and I've just kind of given them a hint to how they can add more universal features. It's happened. So I can just tell you that, little me can get out there and make it an impression and impact. And I just want you to know that you guys can do the same thing too. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Mark. And I think you're going to put in your chat your information about with your contact information, please. Yeah.
So I can do that too. And then it's on the slide. Yeah, we can do that. That's right.
Yeah.
How to get involved.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You guys have a good weekend.
Thank you, Mark. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to Jason Scantleberry if you'd like to have an opportunity to do a spotlight here. We love being sharing not only about like new services and things that we have going on. Important information like this are things that also I'm hoping that we can get shared here, hopefully inspire you guys to do likewise, or maybe join Mark in some of his efforts. So right on. Please do sign up for spotlights. Thank you very much for putting that in the chat there. I am actually going to now, and I did make you co-host, I believe, BJ. I'm going to throw it over to you, BJ, if that's okay. And I had asked BJ with tons of advance notice today that I was interested in having him present some information that he and some of the residential managers shared during a recent management meeting at Alta. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is that we've really tried to balance our responsibility at the regional center to look at where the unmet needs are throughout our catchment area, and also really focusing our resource development to really addressing those needs. However, many of you may be aware that the way the regulations that we follow related to vendorization are written, we as a regional center are required to issue a vendorization for anyone that qualifies. And that is regardless of whether or not we have a current need for that service or not. And recently that has kind of manifested itself in a number of different ways across multiple different service codes. This is I hate to say it's a good problem because it's certainly not necessarily a good problem if you're a business owner. For a regional center, having a significant amount of resource options is great for our community, but there also has to be a balance of sustainable businesses for you all to run. And we've got, probably about 80 different service providers that are on here today. So with that, I will say, I know both, I don't know if Carol's joined us yet, but our other client services managers may be able to say the same thing. And certainly those of you that may be supported living providers may be able to say the same thing. But I think we looked at it that we have 51 vendored supported living providers in our area. And
Oh,
um, yeah, no, we're gonna get to this one just a second, BJ.
okay.
We have 51 supported living providers in our area, and with that, we have a abundance of supported living providers to serve like this local Sacramento area, and really to serve individuals that do not demonstrate a significant amount of behavior and medical support needs. And what I'm going to ask BJ to kind of talk about is the experience as it relates to the residential side of things, because I'm starting to hear from residential service providers as well. And so, BJ, I'm hoping that you can, share your screen and share with your folks from the viewpoint of you as residential managers. I know you were able to take a look at this, and this is impactful. I know Odelia, others, we work to get these vendorizations done, but we hear from the service providers, and so do you, BJ, if there's not referrals. So if you can maybe, if you don't mind sharing what the status is and then where you feel kind of some of our big needs are,
Yeah,
please.
absolutely. You teed that up super well, John. So we had a chance to sit down, us four residential managers here at Alta, and these are the numbers that we came up with. So for low level vacancies as of the 16th, we have 39. So those are levels 2s and 3s with the classic way of looking at it. And then our level 4 homes, we have 89 vacancies. It's almost an overwhelming number of open beds. Thinking big picture about, how many homes we have. We have about 600 different homes, and each of our residential service coordinators have 13 homes, and there's about 45 of them. That's how you get to about 600. And every single day, our service coordinators are getting about 4 inquiries for residential services. So there is still a really high flow of people coming into the residential system and trying to find homes or move from one home to another. So that's really good information. And the last thing is the Hustle by CSS. There have been 22 new homes just in the past few months. And another one came out today. And so it seems like the pipeline is really flowing, which is great for all of our clients to be able to have a lot of choice, which is wonderful. But we do have quite a few vacancies at this time. So wanted to share that with everybody.
So BJ, what are you getting asked for that you don't have?
Dementia. If you would like to serve folks with dementia, that is something that we're definitely looking at. If you would like to serve children, adolescent children between like the ages of 12 and 17 with significant behavioral challenges, that's absolutely something we're looking at. We're often being asked for services that are related to forensic issues. So people that have committed crimes and then they're exiting the system. Most providers have said no to trying to meet that need. Briefly, those are the things: children, behavioral homes for children, forensic homes for adults, and then either RCFEs or just shy of that, just a regular adult facility for people with dementia. Because so often dementia hits our population in their early 50s and even late 40s. And so getting into an RCFE when you have those symptoms ahead of time, like, it's not the right math. So anyway, that's what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you very much, BJ.
Mhm.
All right. Let me have you stop sharing that, and then we'll get into just a brief kind of discussion about that, if that's okay with folks a little bit. I was a residential manager for 7 years here at the regional center. And I kind of wanted to check in actually because Toby's on here, and Toby and Jordan deal with a lot of our really most challenging support need requests in the residential world. Toby or Jordan, did we miss any other needs for resource development um, that kind of popped? I know BJ covered a bunch of them.
He really hit the areas that I'm very familiar with. So I don't know if Toby has anything else, but those are absolutely always forensic dementia and children with
And
behavior.
children, yes, I like children.
Yes. Need more
Children.
children's homes.
One of the things that Michelle Duchesne and I were talking about yesterday is, my experience as a residential manager previously in dealing with planning teams, sometimes the planning teams of individuals that may have tried residential care at some point in the past. Like it may have been something that they looked at in like the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, and maybe it was something that worked out. And some of you know that we're currently serving individuals now that, were in care facilities before we had the ARM model that came into place. And so I just wonder if there is a way for us. Was very impressed by the presentation that was done by the residential managers, kind of explaining where we're at with all of this. And I'm just wondering, as I get the phone calls from residential providers that are really challenged with this, it's one thing to tell someone, we need you after the fact to change the level of home that you are doing. It's a really tough situation. And so I'm just kind of thinking of ways up front where we can really let folks know exactly what our resource needs are across like our different counties, not only just for like residential care, but some of our other services. Again, this is a good problem for us, but just balance wise, it's not great to have a lot of different providers, especially if their only real revenue source can be through regional center referrals. They don't have ways to gather other revenue to be really under capacity for what we kind of vendor for. And so I'm thinking and wondering about ways to just promote the vacancies that we have in general. Like I appreciate that all our case management supervisors got to hear the presentation that was done by our residential client services managers. So at least they know that if they have planning teams that do need those types of vacancies, because those beds used to not be available. And a lot of people used to get really frustrated that we never had those high level beds before. And so if there's a way where we could get two planning teams to let them know, like, we've got some real high quality residential providers at a high level. Like, you may have been frustrated before, they may not have worked out, but maybe meet some of these residential providers. And I will say the same thing for some of you supported living agencies that are on here as well, and the ones that are currently serving too. We have gone through 5 or 6 different presentations now of our performance contract, and today is the last day to turn in your performance contract feedback, which we've gotten dozens and dozens of emails back. But there is always, I think, room for improvement and expanding opportunities for supported living services. And I know at our regional center, we felt that the barriers that existed to expanding things like supported living services and even independent living services were tied to the challenges in being able to find housing for people. It wasn't necessarily being able to find enough SLS agencies. It's finding those actual DSPs that can provide the in-home supports, and then finding the housing for individuals. Those were some of the biggest barriers. We're trying to address some of the affordable housing stuff. We've expanded things like housing access services. We're doing our, housing development, projects that Rhonda works so hard on. We've done things to try to strengthen our DSP like workforce, right? We've done the focus on the DSP collaborative and trying to really ensure that those SLS providers can hire those quality staff. We've promoted all of the workforce initiatives that DDS has, but I am interested in other ideas, other ways. I feel like we've been pretty good about promoting, again, supported living services. I think that we've got a number of agencies that are fantastic, but again, I think it's just making sure that the message trickles down to planning teams and that we're really clear. We're going to continue to be, working with our service coordinators so that they're very familiar with our services. We've started the PAVE pilot activities at our regional center, which is going to help better define some of the things like supported living services, independent living services, supporting things like supported employment services. But again, just kind of, we really want to be like, I heard all of the concerns when we had no resources, and now I'm hearing all of the concerns of the areas where we are kind of over-resourced. And I'm just wondering if that just means that maybe there's possibly opportunities for planning teams that we could make more available to them, like so that they're more aware of some of these things. So, with that, I am receiving running totals from Michelle Duchesne about our service acknowledgement forms. So, let's see here. Let me give an update on that. Like, should I do my math one more time, Michelle? We'll do it live right now.
I've done it for you already. I have the
Oh, have you?
percentage. Mhm.
Okay, you have a percentage. Oh, let's see. So, how many total service acknowledge? Wait, actually, I'm going to share my screen to talk about the service acknowledgement forms. All right. Are we seeing the service acknowledgement form really big right there? That big chart, that big ugly looking chart that shows Alta performing so poorly. All right. So, this is our chart for service acknowledgement form completion per regional center. Some of you that have been following along with this for quite some time recognize that Alta, for our last send out of these letters, wanted to make sure that they were very accurate and that we didn't have a ton of issues. That was really our goal. We've done pretty good, I feel like, in this last go around. And let's go over where we were at. This is as of April 22nd, and the goal that DDS had set for us. I don't know what the goal is. We were at a 20% on April 22nd. We then had to report on May 13th, and we were at about 45%. And we are now required to report as of today. And what percentage are we at, Michelle?
We're at 97.67%.
Wow. All right. So that is amazing. I will just say, Michelle, why don't I let you just, it's been in quite a last couple weeks for us. And I know we took last Friday off. If maybe you could just kind of explain a little bit of our activities that all of these awesome staff have done over these last couple weeks to be able to get us from like the lowest reporting regional center to just about the highest, because I am texting all the other regional centers right now on our numbers. So, Michelle, what have we done to kind of get our numbers to where we're at?
Yeah, thank you, John. I just wanted to, I was hoping you'd let me share. So thank you to all the providers. I know we have about 103, right, that usually attend coffee. So just thanking you guys for being responsive. As far as the efforts our staff have gone through, I can't say enough. Multiple phone calls, emails, everything that you can think of, our staff has been doing to reach out to our providers. And we definitely couldn't have gotten that. And once we got our staff fully involved, it jumped about 40%. So just want to thank you guys as well. That we definitely couldn't do it without you. We still have staff out in the field. Tom, I just met with him. He's on a seek and find mission. So I'm not going to tell you where he's headed, but he might be at your door. So we have about 22 providers remaining. So we're out there making phone calls, and that's a total of 39 letters out of a total of 1,674 letters. We have 39 pending, and that equals about 22 providers at this time.
So if you see Tom Casper coming to your door on your Ring doorbell or whatever you guys have at your business, can you guys turn your camera on? Because we want to see him walk in behind you guys with a clipboard trying to get a service acknowledgement form signed. So, and that's literally it. Like we were doing some weird DocuSign stuff with folks at like 11:30 last night, but I am extremely pleased. I was certainly really hoping that our service providers would get to 95%. Was something that I had kind of really hoped for if we got all of our staff working hard on this. Really want to acknowledge Michelle Duchesne, who's worked very closely with our accounting department and working, doing a lot of coordinating with all the staff and our vendor coordinators as well. So please, if you guys have any questions about your service acknowledgement forms, please don't hesitate to reach out directly to your specialist here at the regional center. But again, very happy to see where we're at. Any questions about that, folks?
John, I do have the update for the provider directory not started numbers if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, so right now, out of our provider directory, we have 129 providers that are still on the not started list. And our staff have been reaching out regularly multiple times throughout the day and throughout the weeks to get you guys connected with that as well. So it has gone down. It originally started at, I believe it was 270. So we're down to 129. So just keep reaching out to the department and your specialist for support.
I'm going to share my screen. Oh, a hand went up. Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, I have kind of a stupid question. I still have on the provider directory an incorrect vendor number, which actually made one of your poor CSS have to call me to get our acknowledgement for a vendor number that I do not have. Should I make efforts to remove that from there? I just kind of left it alone because it wasn't real.
I believe I've spoken to that specialist and we have emailed the department to have them update that. And yeah, so they are aware, and it's just taking a little bit longer for them to update it in the system. A lot of times you're not the only provider that's had that. So we're getting emails saying it is updated on our side, but we're not seeing it. You're not seeing it online. So there's kind of a lag in that information.
It left it on because it was one that was incorrect in one part, so they fixed it on the. Oh, yeah, it's still there. Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
So just to clarify what Michelle was mentioning a little bit earlier, and I know you guys are hearing these updates constantly, but we have 129 service providers that are on the not started list. And so if you're wondering who you are, the department has posted your information publicly on their website. And so it says 130, and that's 130 cells. So yeah, 129 is right on here. So if you have any question about whether or not you are a person that is considered by the Department of Developmental Services to not have completed all of the activities in the provider directory, your information is right here on DDS's website. We were saying they don't need to send us a request for that information because they have your information right there. So again, these are people that have filled out the survey. They've gotten the invite to go into the directory, but they have not answered all of the questions within the directory yet. At least as I think they updated it as of yesterday or this morning. So again, just I could do it the other way and show how many are done in the directory, but just amazing work on behalf of our 1,244. So that's amazing numbers. Again, you are to be commended as service providers for all of this. So 1,244 ended up getting successfully through the service provider directory. Any service provider directory questions or any service acknowledgement form questions, there was additional correspondence that came out from the Department of Developmental Services that we did not send out to you all because it kind of seemed like it might be a little bit confusing, but in essence, it said the same thing that I've been saying in these meetings for the last 2 months, which is the rate information from the department may be subject to change in some way, but the real thing that we need to ensure everyone is doing is aligning with the new directive information. And so we know that some people's QIP information is just being updated because we just showed you there's 129 providers. So any questions about the QIP? Any questions about the the acknowledgement forms? We did.
Dawn, this is Medi. Sorry, I don't have any questions.
Yes,
I just want to give a huge shout out to this regional center and the efforts that you guys have taken to ensure that we have the correct rates, the correct letters. Huge shout out to Carly, Shauna, Tom, Michelle, everybody. We got all of our letters. We work with other regional centers, and I'm just going to say the experience was not the same. So we appreciate you guys very much. So that's all I wanted to say. This has been a crazy effort and very stressful times, but I think we're getting through it. So thank you.
Thank you. It's tough because I'm also the co-chair of the statewide group of community services directors. So I'm also trying to help every regional center try to have the best, experience going through this. But it all boils down to the staff, honestly, that are doing it. And the staff here have gone above and beyond to make sure that we can get as many of these done and get it as accurate as possible. And you guys have been super patient as service providers. You know, not every service provider feels like the rate reform is turning in their favor, really, like fully. However, we are just getting amazing compliance from folks, which is what, you know, the state has asked us to do. So, you know, can't acknowledge you guys any more than we can for that. I do have a brief update. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to switch cameras so you guys can see Scott. We'll see how that works out. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm throwing over to Kylie. Kylie, do I need to, I don't think you need to share your screen though, do you?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, so just some quick HCBS updates. I know you guys are all anxiously awaiting to hear about the grants. So are we. So we have submitted our, our grant proposals to DDS, and we're just anxiously awaiting to hear back from them. And as soon as we do, rest assured that we will let you guys know promptly. So the fiscal year is closing out next month. So just know that we will have everybody who gets approved in contract by the end of next month. And then with that being said, if your grant was not chosen, you will also be notified. So everybody who submitted a proposal will be notified. As far as HCBS site evaluations, out of 556 total sites to visit, about 179 have been completed. This number, as far as sites that have actually been visited, is probably more around 210, but we're just working on the paperwork. So, we're moving quickly, and we're planning to be done around December. So this puts us at 32% completed right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're waiting on those grants just like you guys are. So we will keep you all in the loop as soon as we find out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kylie. Hubert, I have DDS's stuff that they have on their front page for wildfires up, but if you got something better than that, I'm going to make you a co-host.
Sounds good. Greetings, everyone. My name is Hubert Enriquez, Emergency Coordinator for Alta Regional Center. Short updates today. As of today or this morning at 11 a.m., there is a heat advisory for the Sacramento and surrounding counties up until tomorrow until 11 p.m. I'm going to share my screen here and kind of just show you guys some cooling center resources that can be found on our website. So I'm not sure.
That's good.
Perfect. So if you go to our emergency preparedness page on Alta Regional's website, you'll just click this first section here, and it'll show the activated cooling centers around Sacramento County. And I'll drop this link in the chat. However, if you're, in the surrounding counties outside of Sacramento, there is a page that Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services, has. This is the most updated. It's from last year. There's not really any current updated cooling center activations as of right now. But if you're in the Sacramento area, either today or tomorrow providing services for any of the individuals that you support, be sure to take notes of these locations here. There's another link that it'll bring you to for Sacramento County, just for some simple tips and tricks for beating the heat. And that's all I have for you guys today. Be sure to just keep checking our emergency preparedness.
Oh, I think he accidentally hit the X and kicked
Instead of
himself
stop sharing.
He did
Yeah.
the old John Decker special of just exiting out of the meeting when you stop sharing your screen. I've done it to all of my staff at some point or another. Real quickly, Dana, I know I don't give people notice about stuff, but I'm going to share my screen with the Pride notification. And if you're available, would you be able to share with folks? I saw you just a moment ago, I thought.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there she is. All right, hey Dana.
Pride industry.
Hey, yeah, do you mind? Is it sharing?
Yes, it is. So
Perfect. What do we got going on this year?
So this year, ACRC will be hosting a booth at Sacramento Pride Festival on June 14th and 15th. So if you are available, come on by and say hi to us.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't know that we've hosted a booth before, so
No, historically, we've only marched, but this year we actually get to host a booth. So we're really excited about it.
awesome. Thank you very much. And then I just wanted to check. I flashed briefly to the our calendar, and I want to just note, and I don't know if I've had a chance to talk about it here since, but we did have our last community meeting, and again, we had some of our directors of client services like Michelle Johnson and Jennifer Bloom, but it was just so well attended this time around, like having that many people contributing and participating in our community meeting. And so I just want to encourage people to check out what we've got coming up with our regional center, upcoming events, and try to get them onto your calendar. Especially, like I said, things like community meetings. It looks like we have our next one coming up in August, but it's really nice. I had an opportunity yesterday to review the performance contract feedback that has come in, and just getting that direct feedback from our stakeholders is very helpful for those of us that are looking at policy and new types of initiatives that we want to put forth at our regional center. So thank you, Hubert, for dropping the information in the chat right there. And I don't know, Jordan or Helen or Scott or Michelle, if we have anything else. I think that might be it for today.
I think so.
Can I give a shameless plug for the residential vendor forum?
Yeah, please, by all means, yes.
So next week, I'm going to be hosting a residential vendor forum in each of our outlying offices. So on Monday, we will be in Roseville from 1 to 3. On Tuesday, we'll be in Yuba City. On Wednesday, we'll be in Woodland. And on Thursday, we'll be in Grass Valley. This is your opportunity as residential vendors to get together, collaborate, strengthen your bonds with each other, trade consultants if you like to. And then we'll be giving a brief overview of a lot of changes that have happened between 2025 that we're implementing in 2026. We'll talk about rates. We'll answer questions. CSS is going to be present, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
All right. And that information will be posted on our events calendar, or there's a way where people can find out when and where those are going to be at?
Yeah, every single vendor that is in the outlying areas that's under my unit got an email with a flyer. Yep. And I have put my contact information in the chat if you didn't see any of those things. And I can try and get it on the calendar as well. I don't think it's there.
All right. I think you've done some direct outreach to folks. Again, I just want to acknowledge the staff that have been working so hard to get all of these acknowledgement forms done. And I will say too, we've got some of our QA folks on here. There's a lot of investigations. There's a lot of complaints as our agency gets larger and larger. There's just more information about how things are going in the community that are being given to us. And so I also just want to acknowledge, those staff that are on here as well too, because again, there's a lot that we have to look into here at the regional center. And finally, I just want to repeat what Michelle Duchesne said. You guys have been amazing service providers in being responsive to these rate study requests for information. And all throughout today, Michelle's just going to be excited as more and more of these sign now numbers come in and she gets more approvals. Right, Michelle?
Yeah, I will say that Jason has knocked us down one provider, so we're at 21. And I haven't heard from Tom yet, but we're still counting it down. So thank you guys very much.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Only 21 more providers to go. Okay. Thank you all. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for all of our presenters today as well. Mark, BJ, much appreciated. Thank you.